This just in, you are looking at obviously a very disturbing live shot there. That is the World Trade Center, and we have unconfirmed reports this morning that a plane has crashed into one of the towers.
Another one just hit the building. Wow.
There are no words.
It appears that something hit the Pentagon on the outside of the 5th corridor.
We have a report now that a large plane crashed this morning north of the Somerset County Airport, which is in western Pennsylvania.
It all started at 8:45 on a clear Tuesday morning. We had a live camera up on what looked like a smoking slash across one of the World Trade Center towers. A passenger plane had flown into it, and I remember some of us here at CNN thinking this was some sort of freak event. Then a second plane flew into the other tower. That was at 9:03 a.m., and at that point there was this deepening dread in everyone. Something was wrong in a way we'd never seen before. Airports, bridges, tunnels in New York and New Jersey shut down. Within 30 minutes, President George W. Bush said we were under an apparent terrorist attack. And minutes after that, every airport in the country was closed. That had never happened before. It wasn't over, though. At 9:43 a.m., a third passenger jet crashed into the Pentagon. Dark smoke rolled up from that part of that huge building. All eyes and many cameras were on that and the two burning towers in New York. And as all of us watched at 10:05, one of those towers gave way where it was smoking, the top part crushing down on the rest of it and sending up debris in boiling gray clouds. 5 minutes later, part of the Pentagon collapsed and a fourth hijacked jet crashed in a rural part of Pennsylvania. The White House, the United Nations, the state and justice departments, the World Bank, all evacuated. America-bound Atlantic flights were rerouted to Canada. And the second Trade Center tower came down at 10:28. So many closings, evacuations, shutdowns. Except for emergency response teams, the heroes of 9/11, the country virtually stopped what it was doing and gathered around TV screens. The president appeared just after 1 p.m. and asked Americans to pray, and there wasn't much else we could do. The destruction was more or less done around 10:30. It was less than 2 hours from the first crash, but the change it inflicted was immeasurable. More Americans were killed on September 11, 2001 than on the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941. And when President Bush addressed the nation that night at 8:30, his tone was one of sympathy, resolve, and warning to anyone who'd planned or supported the attacks.
We will make no distinction between the terrorists who committed these acts and those who harbor them.
In the difficult days that followed, we learned that the Al-Qaeda terrorist group led by Osama bin Laden was responsible for all of this. And America's attention and anger turned to Afghanistan, whose Taliban leaders were giving Al-Qaeda a safe place to live and operate. World-changing events that occurred 19 years ago today. I'm Carl Azus for CNN 10. The attacks of September 11, 2001 were the worst terrorist attacks ever made on American soil. They were physically carried out by 19 Al-Qaeda terrorists who hijacked the 4 planes. 2,977 people were killed. That includes hundreds of firefighters, police officers, and Port Authority officers who lost their lives trying to save others. In remembrance of the victims, Patriot Day was established. President George W. Bush signed it into law a few months after the attacks. No members of the Senate or the House of Representatives voted against that bill. And every year since, Patriot Day has been a time when memorials, ceremonies, and church services have been held in honor of those who were killed on September 11th. This Friday, Republican President Donald Trump and Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden are both scheduled to attend a memorial event in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. That's where United Airlines Flight 93 crashed in 2001. Ceremonies are also scheduled to take place at the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., and at the National September 11th Memorial and Museum in New York City, though these remembrance events are going to be scaled back this year because of coronavirus concerns. In New York, for example, the traditional reading of the victims' names won't be done live. Recordings of family members saying the names will be featured instead.
Good morning, Warriors. I'm Kirsten Fisher with your news for September 11th, 2020. In honor of Patriot Day, please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated.
Thanks, Kirsten. National Honor Society applications will be due by September 25th to accommodate teacher recommendations. The date is final and will not be extended again. Please be prepared to handle any issues on Monday, September 21st with your application. Contact Jennifer Sparks if you have any questions.
All girls interested in running cross country need to contact Coach Sanders. Any boys interested in running cross country, please contact Coach Jefferson.
Thanks, Kirsten. And now, the birthdays of the day. Happy birthday to Lucy Bahadorian, Angie Moreno, Jose Canizales Reyes, Carl Davis, Gabriela Hernandez, Taylor Italiano, Ashley Jimenez, Solis, Eamon Kimball. Special shout out to Eamon Kimball, my fellow war crime member and star of the lottery last year. Shout out to the JHS Theater Department. Happy birthday to J. Roan Poole, Jacob Roach, and Ty Williams. That's all the birthdays for the day and also all the news for the day. Have a great day, Warriors. Well, actually, have a great weekend, Warriors.